Lead Store fans, I'm Bill Rice. Welcome to a brand new year. And if you're like me, you're probably thinking about, with all kinds of enthusiasm and excitement, what the new year is going to bring. And so I thought I would do just a quick little video today to help you think about how to kick off your new sales year. Again, oftentimes we kind of come back from our holiday vacations and we sit down. We've got grand plans and visions for really how to up those numbers in the new year, but we sit down in front of our computer, at our desk, in front of our phone, and we're just kind of at a loss for where to start. So I thought I would put together a real quick 5-point checklist that I use and that hopefully you'll find helpful as well. So here's how I kind of structure this kickoff to the new year. So number one, I always start within my CRM. That's where all the gold is. So often we go out and we look for new things, new leads, new things to acquire, and kind of hope that that's going to be the thing that's going to bring the deal. But most often the things that are going to bring the deal are actually what's already in your CRM that's been marinating and nurturing in there, either through your phone calls, your emails, or maybe just through time as that person gets into a better place to need your particular product or service. So dig into that CRM, and there's a couple of searches in particular that I like to do in the new year that usually bring out some real sales gold. So the first one is search for deals that just went unresponsive during November and December. Obviously people get distracted. They start to focus on other priorities for their own sort of holiday season, and a lot of times they just kind of stop responding to you because they've either consciously or subconsciously just kind of put things on hold. So that's usually a huge bucket of opportunity. The second part is just the active opportunities that got interrupted just in a natural cycle of things by the holidays. So these are things where you are engaged in active conversations and they look like they were moving forward. Maybe you're waiting on a couple next steps from them, or they were waiting on a couple next steps from you, and just the natural timing of the holidays kind of ran into the middle of that deal. So again, grab those because those are going to be nice fresh opportunities. They, just like you, are probably just now starting to think again about that particular need that they were engaged with you during that holiday interruption. And then the other thing is, and this always happens, people through the holidays, they get some downtime, they start thinking about things, or they start having discussions with their family around finances, and mortgage and insurance deals kind of come in during that holiday season. So you might have been off, but those actually new leads, they were kind of, like I said, sitting down thinking with the family, and they actually went ahead and submitted their inquiry during the holiday. So go take a look in your CRM and make sure you haven't missed anything that actually came in during your time off or during the actual holiday season. And then the second thing, don't just build those lists. You actually need to do something with them. So the second thing is to, of course, create lists out of those filters and those searches, and then start designing and running specific campaigns against each of those lists. And what I recommend always is drip email is the best place to start, and that's just writing a very personalized set of emails over, usually for this time period, I try to do like a 10-day cycle of emails that's literally just kind of set up and ready to automate and then sent out against those lists that talk specifically to each of those situations. So when you write that drip email campaign, write a new one that acknowledges the fact that, hey, we were talking, but in November and December, it looks like you and I got distracted by the holidays and we haven't talked in a while, or something along those lines. So each of those should be talked to specifically. If the deal got interrupted, hey, we were having a great conversation, but of course Christmas popped up and you and I weren't available, so let's reconnect and get that, whatever it was, done in this brand new year. So make sure that you're actually creating some specific emails, and then of course follow those up with a call campaign as well. We always want to do email and call, and perhaps if you have the permission to do so, text messaging, all that in tandem. All right, number 3, we want to kind of do the same thing with an email drip campaign to all of our current existing clients. Too often we forget about our existing client base and the fact that their needs will mature and and will change over time. And so we want to just send them a simple and usually a couple different emails over the next month or so, just acknowledging the fact that, hey, you appreciate them as a new client, welcome to the new year. Ask them if they're thinking about or have had any changes in their situation or are planning on or expecting changes in the new year. Again, a great opportunity to kind of trigger them into thinking, and more importantly, reminding them that you're their provider of insurance, or you're their provider of mortgages. So often we have a client, and then when they start thinking about doing another mortgage or refinancing or doing a home equity, or potentially thinking about insurance again, they go back out into the market because they forgot that we are their service provider. So make sure that you send out and start that email drip campaign as well. Again, lots of gold in there, because you will trigger conversations and thoughts that will bring them back into you with a new active deal. Then number 4, this is kind of in preparation for the last number 5 step in the process, and that is sit down for a second and make sure that you have a new lead system, that you have a ironclad process when a new lead comes in, that you actually go through and accomplish a certain set of steps. So when that lead comes in, you want to make sure they get an automatic reply that acknowledges that I've gotten it. Depending on where you got the lead from, maybe that also includes a text message that says, hey, I'm on the phone right now, but I'd love to set up an appointment to talk, or triggers a phone call and a call campaign. Then the other thing you want to make sure is that it's just not a one email, one call, one text message sort of setup. Make sure that you truly have a system. So when that lead comes in, regardless of what that initial response is, you want to continue to campaign against that lead until such time that they say, hey, I'm not interested, or I've already been helped by another person, or they just kind of go unresponsive for a reasonable amount of time, where you kind of put them into a pause. So we want to make sure that that new lead system is, again, not reliant on you remembering and kind of doing something very quickly to a lead, but really it's a methodical process that each lead goes through in order to kind of do your best job at serving their needs and addressing them as quickly and as responsively as you can possibly do. And so we want to use some technology and automation to do that. So with that in place, number 5 is, and you notice it's at the bottom of the list, because again, there's so much opportunity in those first 3 categories that you should really focus on that and harvest that sort of low-hanging, easy fruit first. And then number 5, you want to go out and make sure that you're restocking the pond, so to speak, that you're actually building back up that pipeline that's probably dissipated a little bit. November, December is just classic for just eating through our pipeline, because again, we get a little lethargic, the customers get a little unresponsive, and as a result, the pipeline just bleeds off dry. So we're probably going to, in the new year, going to need to reflush that with some new leads. Once you have that new lead system in place, let's go out there and figure out a steady source and flow of new leads. And there's a variety of ways that you can do that. Of course, we're Age Lead Store. We always suggest Age Leads is a great way to quickly and cheaply fill that, flush in and fill that pipeline. Of course, there's also just your existing book of business. Again, we talked about that a little bit in one of the preceding categories, that just kind of your existing clients and book of business. But a lot of times, particularly in insurance agencies and even in mortgage companies, there's a book of business or leads, that a pool that sits out there in the CRM that people kind of have abandoned or are not paying attention to. And so it is good to kind of take a look at that database and potentially pull out some list. Again, these are usually people who have purchased something. They've bought insurance, they've done a mortgage with the company before, but no one kind of really owns them anymore. And so it's an existing book of business for the company. They don't really have a specific insurance agent or loan officer assigned to them. So kind of look for that potential book that's sitting around somewhere probably in your organization. And then the last, and this is a little more complex, but it is one of those things that you want to have in place because it's very sustainable, and that is just a focused website or landing page where you can familiarize people with you on the web and make it easy for them to contact and find you. In conjunction with the website, of course, usually you have some form of additional digital marketing strategy. You got SEO and content, which again puts content out there, and then you get to be found in Google search, or you can go the route of Google Ads and PPC or pay-per-click and actually pay for those search results. Again, these are great, sustainable, long-term strategies that you should be thinking about. So hopefully that's a quick 5-point checklist that will help you re-engage and get your New Year's sales started with a bang. And as always, encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button so that you get all of our upcoming videos. So hoping you have an excellent new year and happy selling.